Welcome to Whisper Tales, where every whisper hides a nightmare. 99% of you guys are just watching but not subscribing. If you love spine-chilling horror stories that keep you up at night, then hit subscribe and join our dark journey. Because the next tale might be about you. The darkness in the apartment didn't feel normal. It was too complete, too suffocating, like someone had draped the entire building in velvet. Alex's breathing came in short, sharp gasps as he fumbled for the knife beside him. The blade trembled in his grip. He listened. Every creak in the walls, every groan of the wind outside sounded amplified, alive. Then silence. Not just quiet. Silence. The kind where the world forgets to breathe. Then a click. Not from the Walkman, but from the door. The lock slowly turned. "No," Alex whispered. "Not again." The furniture blocking the door began to shift. Not violently. Slowly. As if whatever was outside knew it didn't need to hurry. It had all the time in the world. Alex backed away, bumping into the wall. He raised the knife and stared at the door, willing it to stay closed. He could barely see anything, but he felt it, a presence. Something terrible. Something old. Another click. The knob turned. A scream built in Alex's throat, but before he could release it, the lights flicked back on. He was alone. The door was locked. The furniture hadn't moved. The Walkman sat silently on the floor, tape rewound. Alex stood there, drenched in sweat, heart pounding like a war drum. Either he was losing his mind, or the tape was. He didn't remember falling asleep, but when he opened his eyes again, it was daylight. May 29th. The day the tape had always said he would die. He moved robotically through the day. Showered. Dressed. Sat on the mattress, staring at the Walkman. It didn't move. Didn't play. Didn't need to anymore. Whatever was coming, was coming. He tried to call the police. The line clicked and buzzed, then went silent. He tried to text his old bandmates, but every message failed to send. He opened his window and screamed for help, but the street below was empty. Dead quiet. Newbridge had turned into a ghost town overnight. His breath hitched. Was this part of the loop too? Was isolation the last trick? He looked around and finally understood what he had to do. He had to break the loop. Not by running. Not by burning the tape again. But by going back. He returned to yesterday's treasures just after noon. The thrift shop looked exactly the same, dusty, yellow-lit, and forgotten. The door creaked open as if it had been waiting. The bell jingled, too loud in the stillness. "Hello?" Alex called. "I need to talk to you. The guy who owns this place. I need answers." Nothing. He moved past the shelves of porcelain dolls and broken radios to the counter. Behind it now stood a mirror, not a person. As Alex stared into it, the room seemed to grow darker behind him. His reflection shifted slightly out of sync, blinking a moment too late. Then the mirror spoke. Not aloud. In his head. "You shouldn't have played it." Alex stumbled back. "What the hell is this? Why me? What is that tape?" The reflection tilted its head the wrong way, neck bending unnaturally. "It is a lock, and a key. A warning, and a door. Then why does it kill me? Why does it keep changing every time I try to stop it?" "Because you create the change. The tape doesn't cause your death. It records your decisions. Your fear. Your attempts to escape. It doesn't predict the future. It reacts to it." Alex shook his head. "So, there's no way to stop it? No way out?" The mirror rippled. Then, for a brief moment, it showed something else. Hundreds of tapes, each labeled "Play," stacked endlessly in the dark. Some were dusty. Some were bleeding. Some were still playing. "You're not the first. You won't be the last. But you might be the first to listen all the way through." The reflection blinked again. This time, in perfect sync. And the mirror went still. Alex left the store in a daze, his heart pounding louder than traffic. He didn't understand it all, but he understood enough. The only way to break the curse was to stop reacting. Stop resisting. Stop trying to change what was coming. He had to accept it. And see it through. So, he returned to his apartment. He locked the door but didn't barricade it. He set the Walkman on the floor and hit play. No knife. No hiding. Just him. And the tape. It started the same way. His breathing. Footsteps. The creak of the door. Only this time, the voice didn't whisper. It spoke clearly. "Thank you?" The door opened. And the figure stepped through. Alex didn't scream. Didn't run. He sat and watched. The figure wore a hooded coat, face shadowed, body tall and lean. It stepped forward, reached into its pocket, and pulled out a Walkman. The same one. It pressed play. And from its headphones came a different recording. A new one. Alex's voice, but older. Ragged. Wiser. "If you're hearing this, you did it. You broke the loop. The moment you stopped running, the moment you stopped fighting the future, that's when the tape ran out. The deaths, the horror, it all stopped being real the moment you stopped feeding it." The figure lowered its hood. It was Alex. Older. Scarred. But alive. Alex the younger gasped. "I don't understand." The older version nodded slowly. "The tape isn't cursed. It's a test. A recording of the choices that trap you in fear. You broke it by refusing to play any more games." Alex's ears rang. His head swam. "But what happens now?" The older version smiled. "Now you choose." Alex stared at the older version of himself, sitting cross-legged in the same corner he'd hidden in just days ago. It was like looking into a cracked mirror, one that had aged, suffered, but somehow survived. The silence between them buzzed. Alex's throat tightened. "How long have you known that you'd come back?" Older Alex looked up, his eyes heavy. "Since the first loop ended. I didn't realize what I had done until I stopped trying to change things. That's when he showed me the way out." "He?" The older man tapped the Walkman, now resting silently on the floor. "The tape. It's not just cursed, it's alive. It learns from us. It loops until it finds a version of us willing to listen, really listen. Once it does, it offers a choice." Alex shook his head. "Choice? What choice?" "To become the recorder." The room shifted. Not physically, but perceptually. The air grew thick again, but this time, Alex wasn't afraid. His younger self felt calm, like some veil had been lifted. It was as if he were outside of time, floating through a single moment stretched out forever. The older Alex stood and extended a trembling hand. "The moment you stop reacting, stop fearing, and start observing, the tape changes. The ending rewrites itself. It doesn't kill you, it promotes you." Alex blinked. "Promotes me to what?" "To the next player in the cycle." The light dimmed. The walls cracked, not violently, but as if they were splitting open to reveal another layer. Through the fissures, Alex saw flashes of people, others, just like him. A woman in a hotel room screaming as she played a record labeled "Don't." A man in a cabin staring at a cursed VHS that showed his final breath. A child listening to a nursery rhyme that looped every time she blinked. Each of them trapped in their own feedback loop of fear and foreknowledge. And in every loop, a figure watched. Sometimes hooded. Sometimes faceless. But always familiar. Always them. The older Alex sighed. "You can go back to your life, but the tape will find someone new. Someone else who isn't ready. Someone else who thinks they can escape it. Or..." He looked Alex in the eyes. "You become the next custodian." The apartment faded. They now stood in a room lined with cassette shelves stretching beyond sight. All labeled "Play." All humming quietly, as if vibrating with memories. Fear lingered in the air like static. Alex's head swam. "This is where they all end up," he muttered. The older version nodded. "Or begin." Every person who plays a tape enters a personal loop. Most don't last. They fight. They die. Some loop forever. And a rare few make it here. He gestured to an empty slot on the shelf. This is yours. Alex stared at it. Blank. Waiting. He felt the weight of it now, the idea that this wasn't just about survival, but about succession. He could walk away and let someone else suffer, or he could break the chain for someone else. No one had ever saved him from playing the tape. But maybe he could save the next person. The room flickered again. Suddenly, Alex stood outside yesterday's treasures, holding the Walkman. Inside, everything was reset. Dusty shelves. Faint jazz music playing through an old speaker. No sign of the older Alex. Just a quiet, empty thrift store. He stepped inside. This time, he moved with purpose. Behind the counter, beneath a stack of cracked Polaroids, he placed the Walkman. The cassette tape, still labeled play, clicked softly as it settled. He looked around one last time. I hope you listen, he whispered before walking out. 2 weeks later, Jasmine, a 23-year-old theater student new to Newbridge, wandered through the store. She liked old places. The smell of mildew and wood polish reminded her of her grandmother's attic. She thumbed through old records, flipped through retro t-shirts, and then, her hand brushed something cool and familiar. A cassette Walkman. Labeled simply, play. She turned it over. No artist. No track list. Smiling, she slipped it into her tote bag. She didn't notice the man watching her from across the street. Tall. Hooded. Familiar. She didn't see his lips move. Don't press play. In a dark room filled with shelves and shelves of tapes, another slot is filled. Label. Alex, Final Cut. And just as it's placed, another tape ejects from the machine. Blank. Labeled. Jasmine, initial recording. The loop has begun again. But this time, someone is watching. Recording. Waiting.